7 decades since the Dead Sea Scrolls were discovered, around 80 new fragments of the ancient texts have been revealed to the public. Archaeologists in Israel made the monumental find during a mission involving the scaling of cliffs and searching hundreds of caves.
In 1947, a young Bedouin shepherd tossing a rock into a cave near the Dead Sea heard something break. This chance encounter would lead to one of the most extraordinary archaeological discoveries of the 20th century, the Dead Sea Scrolls. These ancient manuscripts, dating back over 2,000 years, have long been a cornerstone for understanding early Judaism and the development of Christianity.
In these scrolls, we find biblical manuscripts, copies of the Bible that are 1,000 years older than any previously known copy of the Bible, as well as a treasure trove of documents that we had never seen before.
For decades, scholars examined the scrolls using traditional methods: handwriting analysis, linguistic comparisons, physical examinations. But in 2020, a groundbreaking study took an unexpected turn. Scientists sequenced DNA from the scrolls themselves, not from the scribes who wrote them, but from the very animal skins the scrolls were written on. What they discovered would force scholars to reconsider everything they thought they knew about these sacred texts.
A race against antiquity thieves. These archaeologists sift through caves, looking for signs of ancient life. Old scrolls and parchment have been turning up on the black market, which led the Israel Antiquities Authority to intensify their operations in the Judean desert.
The Dead Sea Scrolls, a deeper look. The Dead Sea Scrolls consist of around 25,000 fragments from approximately 1,000 different manuscripts, discovered between 1947 and 1956 in 11 caves near Qumran. Dating from 250 BCE to 68 CE, they contain the oldest known copies of biblical books, along with sectarian writings, hymns, prayers, and commentaries spanning a critical period in Jewish and early Christian history. When first discovered, the scrolls were remarkably well preserved, due to the dry desert climate and sealed clay jars. But after decades of handling and the exhibition, many have become fragile and unreadable. Because of their religious significance, any testing that could potentially harm the scrolls was strictly forbidden, making it a challenge to unlock their full secrets. Traditional methods and their limitations. With 25,000 fragments, many containing barely a few words, scholars had no easy way of determining which pieces belonged together. It was like assembling a massive jigsaw puzzle with no image to guide them. While scholars used educated guesses to match fragments, mistakes could distort the texts and mislead future researchers. For decades, the consensus was that the scrolls originated from the Essenes, an isolated Jewish sect at Qumran. The theory fit with the apocalyptic writings and sectarian rules found in the texts. But inconsistencies remained. Why were there different versions of biblical books? Why the variation in writing styles and materials? No alternative explanation could be definitively proven. The breakthrough, DNA analysis. In 2012, a chance conversation changed everything. Molecular biologist Oded Rachavi, over lunch with biblical scholar Nomi Misrai, was discussing the challenges of matching scroll fragments. Rachavi posed a simple but revolutionary question: what are the scrolls made of? When Misrai replied, "Parchment, animal skin," Rachavi had an epiphany. DNA might hold the key. The breakthrough came when the team discovered tiny particles of parchment dust accumulated over decades of handling. This dust contained collagen, the protein found in animal skin, and within that collagen was ancient DNA. By collecting dust from blank margins or damaged areas, the team could gather enough material without harming the scrolls themselves. The challenges of extracting ancient DNA. The parchment-making process, soaking, scraping, and stretching animal skins, damages DNA at a molecular level. 2,000 years of temperature fluctuations and humidity, plus handling by countless people, had further degraded and potentially contaminated the samples. The research team worked in specialized laboratories with strict contamination controls, wearing full protective gear and sterilizing all equipment. Their focus was on mitochondrial DNA, more abundant in ancient samples, ensuring enough material could be extracted despite the degradation. The revelations: sheep and cow parchment. The results were groundbreaking. Most fragments tested were made from sheep skin, common in ancient Judea. But then came an extraordinary discovery. Some fragments were made from cow skin. This raised a crucial question. Cattle cannot survive in the harsh desert climate of Qumran. How could cowhide parchment be found among the scrolls? This simple biological fact shattered the long-held theory that all scrolls originated from a single, isolated community. The presence of cowhide meant some texts came from outside Qumran, from regions where cattle could thrive, suggesting the collection came from multiple locations and communities. Genetic fingerprints, reconnecting fragments. The DNA analysis also allowed scientists to match fragments previously impossible to link. By comparing genetic material from different scroll pieces, they could determine whether fragments came from the same manuscript or closely related animals. An objective, scientific approach replacing subjective analysis based on handwriting or appearance. One of the most significant findings involved the book of Jeremiah. The Dead Sea Scrolls preserved two versions, one matching the Hebrew Bible we know today, the other significantly shorter and differently arranged. DNA analysis revealed the shorter version was written on cow parchment while the longer was on sheep parchment, confirming two distinct textual traditions preserved independently by different communities. The changing understanding of the Dead Sea Scrolls. This DNA breakthrough has radically changed how scholars view the scrolls. No longer seen as the work of a single isolated sect, they are now understood as a diverse collection from multiple communities across ancient Judea. The discovery challenges the notion that one standard version of biblical texts existed in ancient Judaism. Instead, the scrolls reflect a period of religious diversity, with different communities emphasizing different interpretations of Scripture, particularly important for understanding the environment in which early Christianity emerged. The sequencing of DNA from the Dead Sea Scrolls has led to a paradigm shift in biblical archaeology. What was once thought to be a private library of a single sect is now recognized as a treasure trove of Jewish thought from diverse groups. The DNA analysis has opened new questions and possibilities, fundamentally transforming how we understand the ancient world and the development of early religious traditions.